The series is set in Russia in the year 2140, where women have taken over the planet and turned it into an ultra-modern society. They no longer live in crowded cities, but in the countryside, where every family owns a villa. In fact, the technology is so modern that an AI housekeeper takes care of everything. They measure their owner's temperature, cook food for them, play shows according to their mood, and even design new clothes for them. Since men are no longer the dominant species, things like hate, violence, and wars have been eradicated, and the average life expectancy of women has gone up to 150. I didn't realize men were killing women when they turned 100 before. The protagonist of the movie is Lisa, a 50-year-old woman who works as a history teacher at a local school. One morning, as she watches the news, a woman is seen protesting about a burning issue. She wants all women to have the right to reproduce naturally with men, and not by artificial insemination. Lisa simply scoffs at the news and gets ready for her day. After a while, she heads to work, and we are given a brief overview of the society, which is heavily reliant on technology, kindness, and discipline. Food stalls are present near the roads, from which women can enjoy free meals. Video calling can be done with the click of a finger, and there are fines for menial offenses like putting the garbage in the wrong trash can. The penalty for such offenses is the deduction of social points, which is also considered as currency in this world. Moreover, if someone is obedient and does their job well, they are given free social points. Shortly after, Lisa arrives at her workplace, which is a futuristic shuttle housing a few students. Wasting no time, she starts the class with a video presentation which talks about the history of mankind. It reveals that since the inception of humanity, men have dominated society, but all it brought was hate and violence. Decades passed by, but nothing changed. In fact, the world was plunging into deeper problems like global warming, the ozone layer depletion, and so on. All definitely the fault of men. Then, in the year 2030, a deadly conflict between the United States and North Korea changed everything. Some scientists in Pyongyang developed a virus to destroy all the men in the US military. However, the virus quickly spread to other parts of the world too, and decimated 99% of the male population. Did Donald Trump write this movie? As the video continues, it shows that after the women took over, they slowly started reversing the damages done by men. Global warming began to lessen, pollution levels decreased, animals started multiplying in number, and overall, the Earth started becoming a better place to live. At last, the video mentions that the birth of boys, i.e. primates, has become extremely rare, and those who grow up are relocated to a dilapidated part of the city where technology is still primitive. Here, we get to know that the male population is looked upon like apes. They have little intelligence, they're filthy, and they're always after two things: intercourse and violence. Ugh. Disgusting. Once the presentation is over, Lisa takes the girls to the edge of the colony, from where they can see the place where men live. After the fall of men, the cities have been turned into slums. Following this, we are taken to a nearby slum, which is the home of a group of primates with very limited use of technology and etiquette. Their lives are very simple. We can even see some females there, probably some rebels who couldn't adapt to the futuristic society. Among the men live a normal-looking guy named Gara, who is a virgin. All he wants is to get laid, but at the same time, he is very helpful and considerate of others. There is also a masculine brute named Baron, who acts as the leader of the slum. He is sick of the matriarchal society and wants to initiate an uprising. In one of his speeches, he mentions the 100-year history of the slums. Several decades ago, after women took over the world, men were treated as animals and even used as livestock. But one day, Baron's brave grandfather escaped their society and came to the city, where he started building the slums from scratch. He even brought some women with him to reproduce. As everyone listens to the speech with great interest, Lisa arrives there with her students. It turns out that she has brought them on a field trip to see the primates, or in other terms, to see a zoo. As expected, the men are enraged to see themselves being looked at like animals. After a while, when Lisa and a student named Maria reach a restricted area, Gara approaches them and tries to hide them. In the heat of the moment, he also suddenly kisses Lisa. Taken aback, she quickly blows a whistle and disorients Gara, but also ends up attracting the attention of some other men who arrive at the scene and apprehend the girls. Shortly after, Baron organizes a slapping competition. The one who wins can procreate with the women. Concerned about their well-being, Gara decides to participate, but to his dismay, he is pitted against a giant. Fortunately, when the giant swings his hand violently, Gara ducks down, causing the nearby Baron to get knocked out. Taking this as the perfect opportunity, the women flee to their shuttle while Gara rushes to his grandfather's house. In the next scene, a shuttle bus stops at a regular checkpoint to get some batteries. After it starts moving again, surprisingly, Gara comes out from one of the battery barrels. This startles the shuttle owner, Julius, who is also a male. It turns out that Julius is a seed keeper, whose only task is to release semen and impregnate and impregnate women. Seed keepers are the only males who are given the privileges and respect like their female counterparts. Surprisingly, Julius, who has never had a friend outside of work, finds Gera interesting and lets him stay. The two chat for a while, and Julius even drinks the primate's special booze called moonshine. Unfortunately for him, he gets so drunk that he ends up jumping out of the moving shuttle bus. Now, with Baron's men hot on his tail, Gera thinks of a plan. He puts on Julius's spare costume and pretends to be the new seed keeper. A while later, the shuttle reaches a colony named Two Hills, and an invisible barrier opens up to let the seed keeper in. Nervously, Gera gets down, and a beautiful woman on a bicycle gives him a tour of the city. Along the way, several women greet him with excitement.
Woohoo, give us your seed!
Lisa is also amongst the crowd, but she doesn't notice Gera. At night, Gera takes an oath by biting the holy apple in front of live TV, promising to reproduce healthy and smart babies. Then he is taken to his chamber to rest, but being a virgin, Gera asserts that he wants to start working right away. Hence, a worker escorts him inside the reproduction chamber, where a middle-aged obese woman named Berta welcomes Gera, much to his dismay. After this, he is told to be seated, and a pipe is connected to his manhood, which starts milking it profusely. Oh my god. At first, Gera hesitates to go through with the process, but soon he starts having visions of Lisa and finally calms down. Surprisingly, on the other hand, Lisa has also not been able to shake Gera from her mind and keeps thinking about him all the time. The next morning, Gera is introduced to the reproduction base, where seed keepers like him are taken care of by beautiful women. The whole day, the boys are pampered, fed with delicious dishes, and massaged to keep them fit and happy. Overwhelmed with all the girls around him, Gera gets aroused and heads to the bathroom to perform a hand relief. However, when he does so, an alarm goes off in the base. It turns out that hand relief is prohibited in the Two Hills colony. To make matters worse, thinking about intercourse is also illegal, and the one who has such feelings is called a homo sapiens sexual. Holy shit. Elsewhere, Lisa and her family, which consists of her mother Paulina and grandmother Anya, are at the local court. It turns out that the student from earlier, Maria, told the authorities that she was briefly apprehended by the primates. Hence, she, along with Lisa, are tried at the court to check if they are guilty. Nervous, Lisa opens up to her best friend Tanya that she was kissed by a primate, but the latter tells her to be confident as no one is going to know about it. Soon, the trial begins, and Maria's mom Vivian, who happens to be a high-ranking councilwoman in the colony, tries to put all the blame on Lisa. However, Lisa doesn't stay quiet and reveals that they went to the slums at Maria's request. She even goes on to show video footage from her AI, which verifies her claims. With this, Lisa is about to prove her innocence, but just then, her evil best friend Tanya rats her out and tells everyone that she was kissed by a primate. Hearing this, everyone is shocked, and the judge punishes Lisa with 80 hours of community service, while Tanya is rewarded 20 social points for her honesty. Elsewhere, Julius somehow stumbles upon the slums, where he is approached by Gera's grandfather. The old man decides to help him out, but only if he keeps his identity a secret. Having no choice, Julius agrees. Later, he is taken to Baron, who is hanging out at the local bar. Julius tries to start on a positive note, but Baron makes a mockery out of him by twisting his finger. The same day, Julius is given a haircut to make him look more presentable. Soon, a lady who is clearly infatuated by his good looks approaches him to treat his finger. Unfortunately, Baron notices this and becomes envious. He then orders one of his bodyguards, the Giant, to confront the outsider and take care of him. Without any hesitation, the Giant obliges, and he challenges Julius to a slap fight. Later, the preparations for the fight are made, and the entire community is gathered to witness the event. Soon, the fight begins, and the Giant goes first. He slaps Julius with all his might and takes him down, but to everyone's surprise, the latter gets right back up. He then unleashes a lethal right hand, which knocks the Giant out cold. Never underestimate the power of a man who withholds his seed. On the other hand, Berta takes all the seed keepers out for a walk. During the journey, Gera gets tired of all the rules that they have to strictly follow. For instance, if a seed keeper wants to fart, he has to ask permission and enter a fart capsule to do the deed. After a while, the group arrives at a statue, which appears to be of Greta Thunberg. Turns out that she is regarded as a goddess in this land. While everyone is busy praying, Gera gathers some of his colleagues and encourages them to have some fun. 3 of the guys agree, and together they venture off to the nearby sea to catch fish. There, the guys notice that Gera has unshaved legs, something which is prohibited inside Two Hills. They also find out that he has a lighter, which is regarded as a dangerous weapon. However, instead of being suspicious, the guys like Gera's rebellious nature and consider him a role model. With this, the group catches some fish and enjoys the evening until a nearby fire alarm starts blaring and blows their cover. Hence, they are sentenced to a full day's tour of the education center. The next morning, as Gera is having one of his regular massages, his caretaker is suddenly replaced, and the new one is revealed to be none other than Lisa. It turns out that she was sent to serve in the reproduction base as a punishment. Both Gara and Lisa are shocked to see each other, but nonetheless, they don't say anything. Later, the 4 seed keepers who previously violated the community's protocols are brought to the education center. There, they are brainwashed with several presentations, which certify that men are the superior race and that men should be dominated. The presentations also endorse other illegal cliches of the society, like having intercourse or even thinking about it. During the tour, Lisa and her grandmother Anya are also present there. Both of them watch Gara from a distance and laugh at his clumsiness. However, Anya, who is a bit old-fashioned and despises the latest rules, finds him kinda cute. She also tells her granddaughter to keep his identity a secret. In the evening, after the group reaches home, Gara gathers his fellow seed keepers and makes them understand that, contrary to what they learnt today, having erotic desire is completely normal. This riles up one of the guys so much that he confronts Lisa and asks her to undress. Oh, pump the brakes, bud. But before things get out of hand, Gara intervenes and sends the guy away, hence saving Lisa for the second time. But instead of thanking him, Lisa gives him 30 minutes to run away, or else she will blow his cover to the authorities. Nice guys finish last again. Meanwhile, at the slums, Julius has started gaining a bit of a fan following. Enraged that an outsider is trying to usurp his power, Baron orders some of his men, including his right-hand man, Rat, to finish Julius off. Following the plan, the group, along with Julius, heads to an abandoned department store on the pretext of scavenging some supplies. Surprisingly, Julius is very good at the work, and he manages to extract some valuable food items. The group is further impressed when Julius manages to single-handedly thwart an enemy group named the Squirrels, who believe that alcohol is the root of all evil. As a result of all of this, they decide to spare his life and take him back to the slums. On the other hand, it is revealed that the councilwoman Vivian is no saint after all. She is seen having an intimate moment with the leader of the slums, Baron. The following morning, Vivian compares pictures of the new batch of seed keepers and eventually finds out that the real Julius is missing. From Baron's information during their encounter last night, she also learns that the imposter is a primate that has escaped from the slums. Wasting no time, she orders her assistant to sound off an emergency warning throughout the colony. Meanwhile, a scared Gara tries to flee the place, but he is stopped by the invisible barrier. With no choice, he covertly sneaks back inside the colony. As the emergency alarms go off, he notices Lisa and pleads with her for help. As expected, Lisa wants nothing to do with him, but when Gara reminds her of all the times he has come to her rescue, she agrees. Soon, cops start swarming the place, so Lisa flees with Gara. Unfortunately, while they are running away, her ex-best friend Tanya catches them in the act. Back at the slums, while Baron arrives at the bar to have a drink, he is taken aback to see Julius alive. He angrily asks his men about why they didn't execute him, to which his right-hand man Rat replies that Julius is a kind man who saved their lives. As the heated confrontation goes on, Julius steps forward and demands a democracy. He states that all the residents of the place deserve equal opportunity and that their voices should matter. All the people inside the bar also start chanting for him, and hence, left with no options, Baron decides to conduct a friendly meeting. The two later meet in Baron's personal quarters to talk about their opinions. Julius wants all the people to have a free will, while Baron wants to oppress them forever. But at last, the two eventually settle for an election, the winner of which will be the leader of the slums. After Julius leaves, a worried Baron calls Rat to his room and orders him to enter the election as well. He believes that if 3 men compete, the votes will be divided and Julius will have a lesser chance of winning. At night, the voting ceremony is commenced, and all the residents of the slums cast their votes one by one. When the results are declared, Baron receives only a single vote, but to everyone's surprise, Rat wins the election with 18 votes compared to Julius's 16. It turns out that most of the people still don't trust the latter, considering the fact that he is an outsider. Elsewhere, with nowhere to go, Lisa brings Gara to her home, where her grandmother Anya tries to think of ways to make him escape. Unfortunately, before she can come up with a plan, Vivian's assistant arrives at the door to inspect. Before letting her in, Anya quickly locks Gara, Lisa, and also a pet cat inside the closet. Here, it is revealed that keeping animals in captivity or even having them as pets is also illegal in Two Hills. Soon, Vivian's assistant enters the house and starts searching for the hideaway criminals. She reveals that Tanya saw the primate, aka Gara, running away with Lisa. She then presses Anya to give up the criminals, but the latter holds firm and lies that she hasn't seen them. Shortly after, the assistant is about to leave, but just then, the cat sneezes inside the closet, hence blowing their cover. But before she can inform Vivian about it, Anya smacks her in the head and knocks her out. Now, with time running out, Anya brings out a motorcycle and tells Gara to take it, as only a projectile traveling over the speed of 80 kilometers an hour can penetrate the invisible barrier. She also orders Lisa to run away from him, as she too has become a wanted criminal in the colony. Obeying her order, the two set off on their journey, and Guerra accelerates the motorcycle to exceed the 80 kilometers per hour mark. Fortunately, the plan works, and the two are able to penetrate the invisible barrier. The impact disintegrates the motorcycle and tears their clothes apart, but the good thing is that they have brought some extra clothes with them. Now, with nowhere to go, Lisa is forced to follow Guerra. At night, the two light a fire and sleep together. The next morning, Guerra catches a squirrel and cooks it as breakfast, but sadly, Lisa, who has lived all her life by eating vegetables and shrubs, is terrified by the sight of a cooked animal. The episode ends as Lisa screams out aloud, attracting the attention of some nearby